Hello, everyone! Welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 422. Andrew here. So, normally I work out right after work ends, and it's that time of year where it's dark when work ends. So, on the weekends, I normally work out earlier so that I can go outside and, warm up and cool down, and it's not pitch black outside. So, finished my workout this afternoon. Went outside to run, but I didn't run because it's the weekend and I'm lazy and I didn't feel like it. But, so just doing it's like a mile walk or something like that. Um, there's a hill. I was wearing ankle weights. It's the weekend. I wasn't feeling like it. So I'm walking down the street and some woman's jogging down the street. Actually, jogging, unlike me who was walking with ankle weights. So she's jogging down the opposite side of the street. And in front of one of the houses on the opposite side of the street is a group of kids, young kids, five thereabouts, small micro kids, the small ones. Um, and there were four in total, I think, two groups of two. One of the little girls in one of the two groups uh, yelled out, "Hola!" to the lady jogging past. And the lady jogging past looked at the little girl and, politely nodded and did a little half wave and continued on her merry way. I hope it was merry. Um, I was walking down the street and I wondered, would I too be the recipient of an hola? Because I was on the other side of the street, you see. I also look like this. But for some reason, kids love me. I don't know why, because the feeling is not mutual. But indeedy do, she hollered across the street at me, "Hola!" And I, said, hola back to her. And then she kept talking, which it's not helpful to me because my Spanish is awful. But while I didn't recognize the phrase, I recognized, I get the context, and I recognized enough words to suss out that she was essentially asking me how I was doing. So I said, "Fine, thanks, how are you?" in Spanish. In broken Spanish, bien, gracias, y tú. Um, and she responded by giggling, like, doing the whole kind of dance in place kind of thing, and then scampered off, giggling. And I can only hope that she was just tickled pink that someone engaged her in conversation. I don't know how long she'd been olaing people walking by. Perhaps I was the first one to actually verbally respond. Or perhaps she was giggling herself silly because she recognized my Spanish as absolute shite. And she just thought the way I responded was very, very funny. Um, because if what she asked me was kind of a yes or no question, and I answered, and I can't remember the exact phrase. It had K in it, so she was asking me something. Um, but if someone asks you, uh, "Are you doing well?" and you say good, it's not incorrect, but it is a little awkward. So, moral of the story is my Spanish is very, very bad. But I made some kid giggle, so that's not nothing. Um, so I've been thinking to myself this week, what is the first movie I saw in the theater? Because I have specific memories of films that I saw in the theater. And like I don't remember when I saw them, so I'm kind of going like, okay, I remember I saw An American Tail in the theater. That movie came out in 1986. So could that have been the first movie I saw? Because I don't remember seeing something in 86. But I do remember seeing An American Tail. Uh, and I remember what's interesting is my earliest film going experiences are almost all 1986. Transformers the movie, that was 1986. As I just mentioned, An American Tail, the Fievel Mouskowitz movie. That was 1986. Um, the I actually remember. I have some memory. Interestingly, also, I have some memories of seeing Little Shop of Horrors, which was also 1986. But what I remember is seeing Little Shop of Horrors playing on another screen while we were at the drive-in. And so this could have been like 1987 because it back then movies would come out in the theater and they'd stay usually for a while unless they completely bombed, and then they'd hit the the ancillary circuits like drive-ins and dollar theaters, which I'm not even sure there are dollar theaters anymore. um and then they would hit home video, and then they would hit television like at least a year later. The amount of time where you could see something in at the theater and then see it, rent it at like a video store was well over half a year, like 8 to 10 months at minimum back then. Um, Today they're coming out on streaming. If they don't like debut on Netflix or something, they're out on streaming the same day. Even Disney stuff that hits theaters, you can expect to see it on Disney Plus in no more than 4 months. So I missed out on the Fantastic Four movie when it hit theaters, but I wasn't too put off by that because I knew by November or December it would be on Disney Plus. So I could watch it at home. And indeed, it came out on streaming this month, and I watched it. I quite enjoyed it. Um, I remember, I similar to Little Shop of Horrors, I remember seeing Howard the Duck. I don't actually remember watching the movie Howard the Duck. I think it's the same thing as Little Shop of Horrors. I think I saw it playing on another screen at the drive-in. So the film came out in 86, but that might have been 87. Um, One of the stories I've been telling for a while is my sister got to pick a movie, and she picked the Rainbow Bright movie. And I didn't want to see Rainbow Bright because I was a putz of a kid. And Rainbow Bright, stupid. I mean, Rainbow Bright is stupid, you know. So I remember seeing Rainbow Bright in the theater, and then my memory, the story I've always told, is I got to choose the next film. So I chose Action Jackson, the violent R-rated Carl Weathers action movie. Except here's the thing. Rainbow Bright, the film, Rainbow Bright and the Star Stealer, came out in 1985. Action Jackson came out in 1988. As far as I could find, um, Rainbow Bright and the Star Stealer did not have a theatrical re-release, so I think my memory has been wrong about Kelly took us decided on Rainbow Bright and then I decided on Action Jackson. What might have happened was she decided on Rainbow Bright and then I decided on Transformers, because Rainbow Bright came out the end of 85, and I think it's like November of 85, and Transformers came out in I think like April of 86. So if we saw it in a dollar theater, it may have been actually early 86, and then we went to theater to see Transformers. So, unless I'm forgetting something, Rainbow Bright and the Star Stealer may actually be the first film I ever saw in the theater. Probably not. I probably don't remember the first film I saw in the theater. But in 1985, if I saw it when it came out in like November of 1985, I would have been 5 years old. Late five. My birthday's February 1st, so I would have been very 5 years old, almost six. Which that seems like an okay age to start introducing a young child to the theater. That's old enough for many kids to learn to sit quietly for, 90 minutes or 2 hours. Um, but yeah, I went through because I was trying to remember one of the earliest movies, and I actually saw um, Jaws: The Revenge in the theater. I remember my dad took me to see Jaws: The Revenge, and that was 1987. Um, I know I saw Jaws 3 in 3D, um, which means I would have had to have seen it at a theater. But I think Jaws 3D was like 1983 or something like that. I'm almost certain no one brought a 3-year old, and even if they did, I wouldn't have remembered. I would have been way too young. But I'm pretty sure I saw the 3D version of Jaws 3D, which means I would have had to have been a theater. Now that may have had a special screening years later, because I've also seen Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D in the theater, but I was in my 30s when that happened because that was like a decade ago. Um, so yeah, I was probably 5 or 6, the first very late 5-year old. When I first saw a movie in the theater, my first theatrical film may indeed have been Rainbow Bright and the Star Stealer. Um, so there we go. Um, I don't remember mentioning this before, but I am a fan of Ubisoft's Just Dance franchise. Because I'm a fan of the performing arts. I'm a fan of dance. I actually do watch dancers on various social media just dancing because it's something I enjoy. Um, it's not something I can speak on as competently or or with as much insight as I can music, singing, and musical performance. Dance is more something I just look at and I go, well, that's neat, right? I can get a lot more in depth and talk about mechanics and technique and theory if we're talking about singing performances. Dance, not so much. I just enjoy it. So the Just Dance franchise, I'm a fan of its aesthetics. I think it's colorful and imaginative and fun. I don't play it. I don't enjoy dancing myself. I can if I have enough time to rehearse, but dancing is not something I personally enjoy doing. I love singing, dancing not so much. Um, so for the past few years, 5 some years, Ubisoft has the Just Dance games have had a one of their songs has been a stop motion project. Now it started, I think the first one was a regular live action dancer, but the background had a bunch of um, stop motion animated characters running around as background flavor. Then I think the next year they evolved that to they had a live action dancer doing a duet dance with a stop motion puppet next to her. And then the subsequent years, they used what I'm assuming the company is Inspira that they've been using for the past 5 6 years. The next few years were a variety of songs that were full stop motion, and the dancing character on the screen that you, as the game player, are mirroring I think it's mirrored, um, are stop motion puppets. These are little woodland critters. I think one's like a bear, one's a badger, and one's a moose or a deer or something like that. And I think the next three or four were these characters. Then last year it was they brought in a brand new character. It was Mrs. Claus, and there was a whole skit where she's wandering around, the North Pole, helping the elves wrap the presents and stuff like that, and that was pretty cool. This year, I just happened to see. It's been available for a couple of months. I just completely forgot about it until one of them rolled across my feed. I'm like, oh, hey, yeah, or Just Dance 2006, sure. Let's see what the stop motion one is this year if they have one, and indeed they do. And it's once again original characters, set to Born to Be Alive, and this one is a kind of a Monster Mash bit where the main character is a young Frankenstein's monster girl or something like that. So uh, and she's basically wandering around the neighborhood, going to all of her friends, Dracula, Wolfman, who's running a daycare center full of sheep, which is kind of funny, and it's very monster mashy, and it is stunningly good. Now, I've always admired Inspira's live action contributions to the Just Dance catalog, and they've always been cute and charming, but they've never been. It's been interesting watching them improve their craft over the years in both terms of animation quality, but also set design and construction and puppet construction. But they really upped their game last year with the Mrs. Claus thing, but the puppet moved a little weird, and its face wasn't as articulate as I think they would have preferred, and it came off as a little creepy whenever it would smile at you. You're like, oh, okay, that's just Mrs. Claus shouldn't be disturbing, right? It was still cute, it's still fun, but they weren't quite there yet. With this year's Born to Be Alive video, holy crap, they nailed it. What a step up. The animation is genuinely incredible. The design concept has always been really strong, but it's particularly good here. The puppet is wonderfully put together. The sets are great. The concept of the entire video is wonderful, and the choreography of the dance itself is actually really, really fun and really good. It's charming, it's cute, it's technically very impressive. I would not be surprised if there was a bunch of people who looked at this and went, Leica? It's not, but that would be a hell of a compliment. So kudos to Inspira for improving the craft year to year and just firing on all cylinders this year. Check out my Blue Sky page. I linked to the video and a little behind the scenes bit. Definitely worth a watch, I think. It's really, really cute and technically very, very impressive. This is also, unlike the original ones, this one and last year's at least were they had reference footage of a live action dancer to help them animate, so it's rotoscoped in some sense. Like they had reference footage that they could just frame by frame and try to match. You can see it in the behind the scenes footage, and I really wish they'd upload just the full reference footage. I'm always fascinated by that stuff. Like, I've always wanted to see what I would assume they had reference footage for whoever did the dancing and pose work for Vanessa Schneider in Piano 3 for the GameCube. Because I love that stuff. Anyway, Born to Be Alive, Just Dance 2026. It's quite good, so give it a watch if you have a chance. So the Game Award nominees were released this week, and there's been a lot of articles on enthusiast sites talking about how some people are up in arms about some things, and I cannot bring myself to care enough to actually click on the links. But as I do every year, what I like to do, because it gives me a giggle, I suppose, is hang on, let me double check something real quick. Yes, okay. What I like to do is I like to count up all of the different games that have been nominated in across the various categories, and then see how many of them I've actually played. By my count, there are 69 games this year. Nice. I have played. Let me make sure I get the number right. It's very, very important. Uh-huh. Two. Two. 69 games nominated for various awards. I've played two of them. Doom the Dark Ages, which I quite liked. Um, and Monster Hunter Worlds, which I very much like. Was Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii not nominated for anything? I guess it wasn't. It's not on my list. Huh. How about that? Uh, I did play more than two games this year, to be clear. Oop, why did all my stuff go away? Hang on, got it. Everything just minimized. Um, I did play more than two. Actually, I tracked that stuff. Let's see how many. Let's see how many games I've actually played this year so far. 25. That includes demos. Hang on. Five demos. So 20 games and five demos. So I've played a healthy number of games this year, but of the well actually let me see. How many games from 2025 have I played? Seven. Two of them demos. So not not just, so yeah, okay, not too surprising. Most of the stuff I play is a little older. Like, Cold Steel 2 didn't come out this year. um but I always find that kind of interesting. There are games on this list that the Game Award nominees that I would like to play. I just haven't got around to yet, like Donkey Kong Bonanza. One of the reasons I've not got around to playing it yet is because I don't have a Switch 2. I'm also not paying $70 for Donkey Kong Bonanza. What else is on this on this list? That Claire Obscure Expedition 33. I've been wanting to play that, and I actually don't have an excuse to not play that game other than I'm busy with other stuff, right? Because the game I think debuted at $50, and I think I can get it cheaper now, and it's on a console that I own, so yeah, no excuse there, but that is definitely one I'd like to play. Oh, to be clear, the Capcom Fighting Collection 2 is among the nominees, as is Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. I've played several games from both collections. I just haven't played either collection. Like, I've played Mortal Kombat and 2 and 3 and some of the others. I played them in the arcades, I played them on SNES, played them on Genesis, I played them on N64. Same thing with some of the, like, various versions of Street Fighter 2 and some of the other Capcom fighting games. I've played Darkstalk. Most of the stuff in these I actually played in the arcades. Um, but I don't think that really counts. Uh, Let's see, what else? Yeah. Um, oh, hey, we've got people in the chat. Hey, chat peoples. Hello, Chaos. Hello, Jared. Hello, Chicago. Chaos says, I've bought several of them. I've played none of them. Just haven't had time. I I hear you. Part of it is I'm in the middle of a bunch of RPGs right now, and part of it is work. Yeah, it's particularly end of the year stuff. It's just extreme. This is actually the first weekend I haven't had to work in a while. I had to work last weekend, had to work the weekend before that. The weekend before that, I would have had to work, but I had the Extra Life event. So yeah, I finally have a free weekend. Yay, weekend to myself. Anyway, I don't know what drama is going on with the Game Awards. I'm sure it's dumb. like the like I made a joke on social media a couple days ago that my hot spicy take, just nothing. I still don't think Jeff Keighley's a good host. That's my big spicy take from the Game Awards. I think he's bad at it. Oh well. I look forward to watching the Game Awards and skipping all of the awards and watching all the marketing. That's that's how I watch the Game Awards is I ignore the awards because I genuinely don't care. That doesn't mean they have no value. That doesn't mean no one else should enjoy them. It just means that I don't care. It's kind of like I don't care about Switch portability. It doesn't mean the Switch shouldn't be portable, just it's not something that interests me. It's like the Academy Awards. I don't care. I haven't watched them in decades. My sister loves them. I find out the Academy Awards happened usually like the week after they did because people start talking about them like, oh, was the Academy Awards this weekend? Yeah, okay. Because I just don't care. Jared, hello, says Monster Hunter didn't belong in the category it was in. I actually don't know what category it was in. What category was it in? I could look it up, but let me know because I just grabbed all the names and then organized them, removed all the duplicates, and that's how I made my list. I wasn't looking at the categories. I again, I don't care. Let me try to guess an inappropriate awards category for Monster Hunter Wilds. Um, best visuals. Best visuals slash performance, as in like how the game actually runs. Best RPG. I'm with you, Jared. Yeah, I mean, RPG is a broad category, I suppose. You could make arguments. There's definitely RPG elements, but yeah, I would yes, if one came to me and said, "Andrew, what say you from on high? Is Monster Hunter Wilds an RPG?" I would speaketh no. So yeah, it's a good game. It's a great game. I love it. Not perfect, particularly the way the damn thing runs, but I'm still playing it and still really enjoying it. But yeah, I would not. It's a it's closer to a fighter than it is an RPG. I I I don't know how to. I mean, generic action game. Really, it's an action game. You beat the snot tactical action game, perhaps. Although a lot of the strategy and tactics and planning for hunts is not as prominent as in some of the older Monster Hunter games. But I mean, I don't care enough to pitch a fit. I mean, it's my opinion, but it is my opinion that I would not categorize Wilds or any of the Monster Hunter games that I'd. Well, the stories games, yes, but the main series Monster Hunter, no. I personally would not categorize them as an RPG, but I also don't give enough of a damn about the Game Awards to. My blood pressure has stayed the same, and I can get violently angry at tortilla packaging. And yet this does not raise my heart rate at all. So, let's see. Chaos says, good evening, Chicago. Chaos says, doesn't matter what I post on social platforms, basically shouting into the void. Yeah, Chicago says same. I don't care about the Academy Awards. Yeah, I tell it was I've told this story before, but it's short. I don't remember where this was like 2000, right? I don't remember where I was going, but I was away the weekend that the Academy Awards happened. And I asked my grandmother to tape it for me. This was before streaming. This was before video on demand. This was before, like, what was it, DirecTV and TiVo and stuff like that. You actually had to record cable broadcasts or public broadcasts onto VHS tapes. So I asked her to record it for me. Um, Gladiator was one of the films that was up for Best Picture that year, and it was a film that I had seen that previous year with my grandmother and my sister. And I remember we walked out of the film, and Grandma said, "So, what did you think?" And I said, it's no Best Picture, but I liked it. So I came home from wherever the hell I was. The tape was laying on I think on my keyboard in my bedroom, and I found out that Gladiator had won Best Picture. I never bothered watching that Academy Award show, and I have not watched one since. I was like, okay, I'm out. I'm out. um, Jared says the problem with the award show is that it isn't an award show. Oh, that that would be a problem, but it's one I'm completely ignorant of because I don't watch it. I just watch the game trailers because I don't. I'm the only thing I get out of it is like, ooh, that game looks neat. Can't wait to see more of that or to play that when it comes out. So, um, so we talked last week about the Zelda movie, and this week we got to see a couple of production stills from the Zelda movie, and we've got two people dressed as Link and Zelda sitting in a field somewhere with grassy hills and trees and stuff. So perhaps the film will be shot mostly practically in real locations, as opposed to on a set with replaced backgrounds and stuff. Perhaps we'll get to see really cool practical effects for bokoblins and octoroks and stuff like that, and they won't just be full CG creations. That could be really cool. Have no idea because we it's just Zelda and Link sitting in a field somewhere. Although I didn't see Link's floppy green hat anywhere, and that makes me kind of sad. I'm not gonna send like death threats to the production company or something. I really don't care. But I was like, ah, no green floppy hat. Hmm. But it's basically the outfits from some of the games. Zelda's got pointy ears. They're outside, very fantasy outdoorsy looking place. Works for me. It's gonna come down to is the movie any good? I think most movies kind of come down to that. Of course, if as I mentioned on social media, if I were in charge of marketing this film, the first production still you would see is Link in his Gerudo disguise. Because I'm that kind of guy. Because I'm like, ooh, can't wait to see the reaction to this. Let's see. Jared says it's a gaming publicity event with awards. Oh, yeah. And to be fair, that's how I treat it. Yeah, it does. I have seen enough of the awards to agree with that, at least. The awards do seem, at the very least, secondary to the marketing, which, fine, but, you know, it it does feel like it's like it seems like unnecessary, right? It's like, oh, we could do marketing and disguise it as an award show. People love award shows, but we could do an award show and sneak some marketing in there. Those silly little rubes will never notice. It's like, guys, you just market. You don't even have to bother with the facade of an award show. Few people care. I'm not even sure a lot of the nominees give a shit. you know, um, I think a decent. I would be surprised if a not insignificant number of viewers cared more about the marketing than they did about the awards. I have no idea what those what those numbers would be. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but if I learned that like 80% of the people who watch the Game Awards are there for the commercials, are there for the game trailers, and could take or leave the ceremony, the pageantry, that would not surprise me in the least. Wouldn't surprise me if it was significantly higher than 80%. You know, Nintendo does the Nintendo Directs. That's just commercials. That's just marketing, and people generally, the people that love them. I don't think they'd, I don't think they'd reach a larger audience or be any more popular if Nintendo erected some facade of an awards show, right? I, I don't think anyone cares that much. But that may just be me projecting my own opinions on everyone else. Um, let's see. I have recently changed my diet a little bit, and I changed it mainly so that I'd have to shop less. I eat a lot of um, not food that's not in boxes or cans. It's not chock full of preservatives. I eat a lot of fresh food, which is expensive. And also means that you can buy chicken, but it doesn't. It goes bad in the fridge pretty quickly. So what I'd been doing is because the way I do this is I eat pretty much the same thing every single day, which meant that I was going to the store every second or third day to restock. And I thought, you know what? Let me reformat my meal plan so that I don't have to go to the store so much. So I did, and now I only go to the store like every 10 days or so. Um, so that's working. So I'm driving even less. 5 years ago, I drove every day because, I had to, most every day because I had to drive to work and back. Also drove to the gym and back, two different gyms, in fact. Now I work from home, I work out at home. Pretty much the only time I drive is when I have to go to the store. Now I drive even less, which is saving me money on, even more money on gas. Because I think um, I've been, gas is super expensive here in Southern California. It's like $5 a gallon, but I only fill it up every 3 or 4 months. Now I'm going to fill it up even less. I think I've been on the same tank of gas since the summer. Oh, um, but one amusing effect that's having is I had to go shopping last night. Got in my car and it wouldn't start because it had been like a week and a half since I'd last driven the car, and the temperature finally dropped. And I think that just sapped the shit out of my battery. My battery was so dead that the electric door locks didn't work. That's so dead the battery may not as well even be there. Now, luckily, a couple of years ago, I bought myself a portable car battery, uh, so I can jump my battery off of a little portable power brick. So I was able to jump my car and turn the engine over and drive to the store and get the stuff I need. But yeah, so new diet's working for me. Less shopping, but more likely dead battery. Switch to a moped. Probably more difficult to because now when I'm shopping, I'm spending even more money than I normally do because I'm hitting up two stores and I'm easily spending like $60 in each. Um, because I'm buying a lot more food. So yeah, I'm glad I have the car to put the groceries in. Um, raise my own chickens and grow my own veggies. Yeah, not in a one bedroom apartment. I'm not. Um, I mean, I might be able to, get away with a planter on the porch with some leafy greens or something, but I doubt my landlord would approve of a chicken coop. Um, I I'd have to actually go through the. I mean, I'm pretty sure this is a no pets thing, although I know people have pets. I'd have to go through the leasing agreement, see if it says anything about like anything against like farmyard animals. It's like no chickens, no horse, no cows. You can't have those on the property. It's a very long agreement. I don't remember anything about cows or horses or chickens, but it's a very dry read. So, um, build a chicken coop on the well, I'm on the for the, this is a two-story apartment and I'm on the first floor, so I also don't have roof access. So the only so far as I'm aware, the water heater is in a room on the end of this building, but I think that's an external room built onto the end. I'm pretty sure there's no like room that has a staircase or ladder that goes up to the roof. If you want on the roof, you're going to have to use a ladder. Unless I'm completely overlooking something, I think there's no roof access. You have to use a ladder. So, that'd be cool though. Because then I could try the Legend of Zelda thing where I grab the chicken and I jump off the roof and I float down. Um, Speaking of apartment living, I woke up this earlier this week to the second gas leak this year. Now the first one was my oven, the stove, pulling it somehow pulled away from the wall a little bit, and boy, you can when there's a gas leak, thank goodness you can smell it. Also, I'm not a smoker, and I don't like play with firecrackers or something, so I'm at very low risk of blowing myself up. Of course, turning on the stovetop could catch something ablaze. But they actually replaced my stove with an electric starter, so that was nice. I'd still prefer an electric over a gas stove, but just for safety reasons, although I do prefer gas stoves in the sense that for me it's easier to control the heat when I can see the flame rather than an electric range top where I just have a dial and I don't know how hot something is. I have a hard time evaluating the glow of the top of an electric range. Never used an induction stove either. Anyway, earlier this week, woke up, same damn gas smell, put in a request. A maintenance guy came over, took a whiff, and confirmed that I was not nuts. Because sometimes you're like, is it just me? I mean, I smell gas. And I check the stove and I'm sticking my nose in the stove and behind it and trying to figure out where stuff's come from. Turned out I have a wall heater. I've lived here 10 years. That thing has never worked. Which has never bothered me because it's never been cold enough to need a heater. So I've never really cared that the wall heater doesn't do anything. But it's a gas heater, and it was leaking. So what he did was used all his technical training and knowledge to turn it off. Which suits me fine because, again, it just doesn't get cold enough to need a heater. So that gas heater on the wall, it's got gas. It'll pump gas in your house. It'll kill you, but it's not going to make you toasty warm. I also put in a request to fix the breezeway light, because it was flickering. They finally did replace it, and they replaced it. It took almost 4 weeks. I don't know if that's like a special light bulb that they had to special order specially, but it was really annoying. Hopefully no one had an epileptic seizure. But now that this breezeway has a brand new light bulb, it is like 3 times brighter than any other light in the entire apartment complex. Like, I could easily, without straining my eyes, just take a chair out there and read a book in the middle of the night, just sitting by the light of the breezeway light. It is so amazingly bright. It's almost squint worthy levels of bright. Um, it's so contrasting. It's almost like, well, you can't just replace the one. You got to replace them all now, right? No, apparently not. I think they may have just ordered one. I think they would have ordered a box of them or something in case some more go out. But they ordered the light from Temu, huh? Good thing I don't use scented candles. Yeah. Jared says, I wouldn't mind making or putting something on a roof that wasn't designed to be there. You know, it'd be cool. What about a weather vane? Completely useless, doesn't make, but it'd be funny. It'd be kitschy and cute. Just a little weather vane on top. Um, so as I talked about in a previous episode last week or the week before, uh, I work in, as my sister does, I work in the education system, and that is one of many areas of employment that are facing budget cuts and reduction in staff. And mine and my sister's are no different. Luckily, both of us have weathered the current storm and are both still gainfully employed. I talked last week, I think. I only knew one person who got laid off. It was someone from my team, or my group, rather, not my team, but my group. Uh, Apparently, it was a full 10% of IT. They're still being really cagey about who. We occasionally will be like in meetings with other groups, and it's like, hey, where's this person? Oh, they don't work here anymore. Did they die? You know, it's like, we're just not going to talk about that. It's like, wow, flushing morale down the toilet. Good gravy. Yeah, no one is happy about this. Of course, people are scared because this happened with absolutely no warning. Um, the university I work for um, always endeavors, if it needs to lay somebody off, to give them 2 months notice. That's not a legal thing. It's kind of like the 2 weeks notice that you and I are in a way expected just out of courtesy to provide our employers. Like, hey, I've taken an opportunity somewhere else. Here's my 2 weeks. You don't legally have to do that. You can just be like, peace out, bitches, and leave. But that would be rude. Maybe don't do that. Probably not going to get a reference if you do that. Yeah, I've been talking with lots of the folks in my groups, and we've been talking about what our plans are if the unfortunate falls upon us, if the sword of Damocles lets loose and plunges itself right into the tops of our heads, right? What are we going to do? Because I'm lucky enough to work for an organization that has a pension plan. But you have to earn enough service credits, meaning you have to, 1 year of employment equals 1 service credit. So you have to have a certain amount of service credits. You have to work for a certain amount of time to vest in the pension program. I'm not vested yet. Neither are the majority of the people on my team. Neither is my manager, my supervisor, the guy who I worked with in the previous job, who without him I wouldn't have this job in the first place. We are both. I'm close. I'm about 1.25 years away from vesting, but oh boy, that's really frightening. right? It's like, oh man, it's kind of like you see those movies and it's like the guy dies. It's like, oh no, 3 days till retirement. You know, it's like, oh man, I got laid off a year before vesting in, a retirement thing. So I've been talking to a lot of my colleagues and stuff about this stuff, about really unfortunate and unpleasant conversations. But um, I work on the pay and benefits system, so we're all pretty knowledgeable about what our options are because we directly work with the system that manages this stuff and pays it out. Um, so what's interesting is if I were laid off with a year to go, I was reading through our documentation and I found a single paragraph which said that if you are laid off for budgetary reasons, which are what these layoffs are about, you may, if you are short of vesting, you may be able to purchase the credit you need in order to vest. That's all it says. It doesn't say when you may be able to do that. It doesn't give you any direction of how you would go about doing that. And I know the system well enough that there's no option in the drop down for anything like that. Typically, our service credit purchase system is for anyone who goes on some type of approved leave, for example. So if you work for 4 years and then you're on some type of leave for a year, and then you continue working, you have the opportunity to purchase that year of service that you were on leave. But you can only active employees can purchase service credit. And if you're laid off, especially suddenly, you're not an active employee anymore. So it's unclear how this exception works, but it's there. Maybe. Don't know what the process is, don't know what the approval is, but I did find one paragraph that says, um, if this is the circumstance, which this is, you might be able to purchase the remaining service credit you need to vest, which is expensive, as you might imagine. You're basically, your year of service is compensated by your salary and whatever benefits are offered, right? Health care and stuff like that. Um, so you can imagine that buying a year's worth of service is incredibly expensive. It is. But if you're close to, if you've only been working for a year and you're like 4 years out from vesting, I don't know, maybe you have $150,000 laying around that you can just buy the rest of the service credits, but you probably don't. But if you're a year or less, we're talking tens of thousands of dollars. It depends on multiple things, including what your salary is, but you are looking at tens of thousands of dollars at least. Do you have tens of thousands of dollars sitting around that you could buy that service credit just so you can vest? Just so, depending on how old you are, when and if you retire someday, you can have a pension, because that pension is going to be pretty small. It's going to be about as small as it can be, unless you get rehired at some point in the future. But these are the conversations that myself and my colleagues are having right now. It's unpleasant. It's scary. It's very stressful. But I suppose it's a pragmatic thing to do. Because, yeah, I appreciate the powers that be, well, the powers under the powers that be, doing their level best to assuage our fears and discomfort as best they can, which is almost not at all, because they don't know. What we want is someone to tell us. Obviously, what we all would prefer is someone to say, okay, that's it. No more layoffs. We're done with this hurt. We ripped the band-aid off. We're done now. We're not going to do that again. But they can't say that because they don't know. So instead you get, understandably, but annoyingly mealy-mouthed responses like, well, I can tell you that there are currently no active plans that I'm aware of for any more layoffs in the near future. Cool. That don't mean anything. So it's like, we're probably, almost certainly, maybe not going to lay off anyone else, at least till the end of the fiscal year. Which, for us, is actually the end of June 30th. So it's not as short as you might think if you were thinking, March. And it's like, So, yeah, that's, it's some pretty, and I think one thing that's really, that kind of, one of the many things, of course, that sucks about this, not discounting, of course, how fortunate I am to still have a job, and a good one. Hope it lasts. Is that, all of our passion that we had for our work, all of the pride we take in our work product has been pretty roundly squashed. We have, as most employers do, I suppose, have yearly performance reviews. We've got a whole system set up for, here are our goals that we're going to set for ourselves to make ourselves even better, and at the end of the year, we're ranked on our performance and what goals we set for ourselves and how we achieved them. And our managers and such, they rate us on, a scale from you suck, how dare you, to exceeding expectations. And, that could be a basis for a promotion or a raise or any number of things. And most of us now, at least those, everyone that I've spoken to anyway, are like, yeah, I just want to coast. I want to do, I don't want to do too much or too little. I do not want a performance review of exceeds expectations. I don't want a raise. Don't give me a raise. Don't give me a promotion. Just gonna coast, because I do not want my salary sticking out on a spreadsheet somewhere where someone's going, well, we gotta cut some monies. Well, there's a big number right there. Get rid of that one, right? And that is supremely unfortunate, because I do take pride in my work. And I was actually the one member of my team last year who exceeded expectations. And had the budget reductions and hiring freezes not happened that year, I probably, or this last year, this would have been, so I was, rated for the 2024 year as exceeding expectations. So, for the new fiscal year, this last July 2025, I probably, any year previous, would have gotten a raise. But I didn't, because we locked the budget and did a hiring freeze. So, yeah, I'm not interested in doing anything particularly special on my goals. I'm not interested in exceeding expectations. I don't want to stand out. I don't want to stand out personally. I don't want my salary being a large number that stands out on a spreadsheet, you know? And that's not the attitude you probably want your employees to have. So, unfortunate thing all around. Though, again, acknowledge how fortunate I am to still be gainfully employed in a good job. Um, when COVID started in 2020, my previous job, they reduced our hours down to very, very little. I was on unemployment for a while, as many of us were. And I remember my supervisor asking me at the time a very scary question. He says, if you had no source of income, how long would your savings last you? And at the time, I was like, well, if I was very, very frugal, I might be able to stretch it out to 7 months, maybe. I mean, realistically, like 3 or 4, but I might be able to really stretch that out to 6 or 7. Luckily, I've had this really good job for 3 years and change now, and I've been able to actually put some money away. So, um, a lot of the money is invested in retirement accounts that I would face a severe tax penalty if I started distributing funds from it to myself before I retire. But I am fortunate enough that I could probably last well over a year now, at least. I actually haven't done I don't know what the tax penalty is, so I don't know. Because first I'd have to pay taxes on all that stuff, and then I'd have to pay a tax penalty, so I'm not sure what would be left. But it would be a lot longer than what I would have been able to do 5 years ago. So, if I were suddenly laid off, of course, then I have to take into account, do I purchase a year of service to vest? Which, even if I did, my pension would be $1,000 a month, maybe 20 years from now. Will Social Security even exist in 20 years? Who knows? So, yeah, I've always tried to be very clear-eyed about nothing in life is guaranteed. Like, I'm in a good place right now, but anything could happen. I could get laid off. My apartment could burn down. My kidney could explode. Any one of these things happens, and that's not good. And things change. The happy, happy future I saw as a possibility just went wipe. It's like, oh, that's a no. So, well, sadly and frustratingly, the vast majority of this is completely beyond my control. So, I guess try your best not to worry about it until there's something to worry about. Be as pragmatic as you can. For example, I was planning on buying a new piece of furniture this year, a new desk. I think I'll hold off on that. That's money I think I'll just keep to myself for a while, just in case. This desk is fine. Don't need a new one. I mean, yeah, it's very old and it's getting chewed up, but I think I think it would be at this point wiser to keep that money with me and available should I need it. You know. So wind chimes outside. Chaos says, despite my issues with my employers, they do not believe in layoffs. Well, that's cool. Because because the video game industry believes in layoffs. I think one of the things that bothers me the most about the various CEOs of the video game industries, like Kotick at Activision and so on, when they act like it was something they were forced to do. Oh, we were hit with layoffs. We suffered layoffs. Layoffs was something that happened to us, like a tsunami or a tornado or an earthquake. It's a force of nature, and sometimes you're in the way of it. It's so sad that we were hit with this layoff and we just couldn't get out of the way. And that's not true. Layoffs are not something that happens to you, particularly when we're talking about the video game industry and how it's acted over the last decade plus. It's something they choose to do. You weren't hit with a layoff, you indulged in one. You didn't have to lay off 1,000 people again. You could have kept all those people. Just pay yourself and the executives less. You could have. You didn't need to do that. You chose to do it. You decided to do that. I don't believe you when you tell me, when Bobby Kotick and the like say, "Oh, so sad, we were hit with layoffs. Oh, it makes us so sad." No, 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 no. You love layoffs. You luxuriate in layoffs. You do nothing but look for more ways to not pay people so that you can pay yourself more money, which it kind of leads into what I was talking about last week. Maybe, I don't know how the hell you would enforce it, but maybe the CEO of whatever company we're talking about has to actually give a damn about whatever the hell their company does, because it's very clear that the Bobby Koticks of the world do not give the slightest shit about video games or art in general. They care about making money. They don't care about artistry. That doesn't mean anything to them. They just look for ways to not pay people so that they can pay themselves more stuff, more money. And it's that they don't need, I think is the most frustrating thing. Like, I maybe it's something you can only understand when you're rich. If you had $100 million to your name, you'd understand. You just need more millions, even at the expense of other people's well-being and lives. I mean, if that's true, I don't believe that's true. I don't accept that that's true. But if that is true, if I'm wrong and that is true, maybe a person shouldn't be allowed to have that much money. You can still have a lot of money. Maybe you can still have $50 million. Like, that dehumanization doesn't hit you at 50 million. It only kicks in around 100. It's like, all right, you're limited at 50 million. That's still fabulously wealthy. That's still more money than you'll ever need or be able to spend, unless you try buying a country or something like that. But I don't know. If I'm ever a multi-millionaire, I'll let you know if I stop caring about the well-being of other people. Golly, I hope not. Um, the first rule of employment, says Chicago, they don't talk about what happened to people no longer there. Yeah, yeah, but that whole secrecy thing is really off-putting. I just, I when my work colleague got shit canned, I was able to email her and tell her that I had just heard and that's awful and I'm sorry to hear that. It was great working with you. You will be missed. I hope you land on your feet. I hope you're okay. And the reason I was able to do that, the reason I had her personal email address, is because the previous weekend she had made a generous donation to the Extra Life charity event. I'm like, do you need that refunded? Is that $100 you're gonna need back? No. Um. So let's see. Chicago, luckily a judge was able to stop the center's closing while they looked into it. We're okay at least until next June. It's scary. It is. It's no fun. Um, to to undersell it greatly. Chaos says, if I had Bruce Wayne type money, I would be giving people homes. You know, it is interesting. There's a lot of Elseworld type stories. Has anyone done a Elseworld Batman where Bruce Wayne just uses his immense wealth to eliminate poverty? Just make sure that everyone is housed and fed and has the health care and like, explores that. I don't know. I know a lot of people have talked about it. I know that it's something that Bruce does get criticized for in some stories, but I've never seen like an Elseworlds where what if Batman did this instead? Could be interesting. I also think that they should make a Where's Waldo book where you're looking for cryptids. Like instead of looking for, Waldo and that wizard guy and the lady guy, and the Waldo dog, you're looking for Bigfoot and a chupacabra and the Loch Ness monster. I think that would be fun. But no one listens to me. Um, Lastly, speaking of Extra Life, um, I've been uploading videos to YouTube for 15 some years now. I have been hit with literally hundreds of copyright claims. I've disputed all of them because I don't use anyone else's copyright unfairly. And I have won every single one until now. I lost my first copyright claim. And this was for someone claiming to own the copyright. I have no idea who they are or if they do, because they don't have to prove it. But they claim that they own the copyright to one of the songs that I boxed to in during the charity stream. And their claim, of course, is means that because we own the copyright to this song, which was licensed for use in the game that you are playing, that you legally own, that plays for 3 minutes during your 25-hour stream for charity, we get all of the ad revenue from the entire 25-hour stream. Well, I don't think that's fair. They didn't care. So, usually how this process works is you dispute it, and then they reject it, and then you appeal it, and they have 30 days to respond. And what normally happens is they just run out the clock, because no one seems that interested in pushing this. This person, whoever this person is making the claim, responded immediately, which I've had punctual things. It's usually within a couple of work days. It's usually not that immediate, but this was within like 2 hours. They immediately denied my claim. No explanation. They're not required to give one. I'm required to give a 7-paragraph explanation for why it's fair use. So I appealed, and they rejected my appeal. And something appears to have changed in the last who the hell knows how long, because my only options now are delete your entire video, or will delete your entire video and copyright strike your channel. So I deleted the entire video, and I will be uploading it in chunks based on game. I've uploaded the first chunk, I think, yesterday. So the first 2.5 hours was where I was playing the original Trails in the Sky. The Hatsune Miku fitness boxing segments will be uploaded separately, but I've taken the time to strip out the song audio from the game. There's still audio. The sound effects are still there. You can still hear me talking, but the music has been removed, so they can't claim it. So it's kind of ridiculous looking because I'm just boxing to no music whatsoever, but my vocalizations and the sound effects are still there. So I did inform, in my 7-paragraph response, I did inform this person, one, that they were legally incorrect, and number two, all of the revenue that this video generates goes to Rady Children's Hospital. They clearly do not care. They would rather have, now, I mean, the amount of revenue that a 25-hour stream is going to generate is probably about 23 cents. But still, that's 23 cents going to Rady Children. Whoever this person or entity is more interested in that. If they're like saying, if I can't have the 23 cents, hospitalized children can go fuck themselves. I hope something unpleasant happens to whoever this person is. Like, I hope they have a bologna sandwich and find out halfway through that the bologna was slightly moldy. Or I hope they're out in public and a cockroach skitters across their foot while they're wearing open-toed shoes. And they scream in a very undignified and embarrassing way in front of a lot of people. They deserve that. Whoever they are. Chaos says, I had a Bruce Wayne type. If I, nope, sorry, I read that. Bruce in the comics does tons of philanthropy and charity. In many of them, he does, yeah. It's usually not the focus of most of these. It's usually yes, I do the Batman-y stuff, but I also do all this philanthropic work as well. But as like Wonder Woman or whoever might often bring up, it's like, sure, Bruce, you do, but for the cost of the Watchtower, you could have just literally housed everyone in America, not just Gotham. But then we wouldn't have a cool space station for a comic book. It probably wouldn't be as interesting a superhero story if we did that. I think it would be an interesting what if one shot, but yeah. Cass says, can you not just remove the section with the song in question? I actually can't, because YouTube is limited on how I can edit a video that is that long. Its editing tools fail to work for videos that are that long. Otherwise, I would have done something like that. I would have just trimmed out that section, but that editing functionality sadly doesn't work with videos of that extreme length, so I didn't have that option. Oh well. NetXL says, may their saved games be deleted by a less tech-literate family member. Oh no! You overwrote my Animal Crossing island! You monster! How could you? I spent years on that. Yeah. All right. In last thing, and that let's end on a positive note. I'm playing the Sky remake, and I'm in Zeiss now. And one really fun little detail that they've added is that the clock in Zeiss actually tells what is a reasonable time. It's not, the hands are not just stuck in a fixed position for the entire time. Every time you hit a some type of game, basically whenever you hit an event that refreshes the NPC's dialogue, the clock advances. So after the the orbital shutdown, you get up in the morning and you're going to the Zeiss Central Factory to go check things out, right? If you look at the clock, it's like 9:30 in the morning. So you go into the Central Factory and you talk to Professor Russell and you do the thing, and then you're like, oh, okay, we got to go out to Elmo Village now and fix the water pump for the hot springs. And so you walk out of the factory and you go look at the clock. It's now 11:15. That's pretty cool. They didn't need to add that, but yeah, that's a nice it's a nice little attention to detail. The clock is not, you can sit there and stare at the clock. It's not going to actually move. But in addition to updating the NPC dialogue, they're actually updating the clock to a reasonable time of day. And you know what? That's pretty great. I like that. So that's it for tonight, folks. I hope you're all gainfully employed and feeling safe and secure. Because I know, oh man, it's rough. As rough as it is for me, I know so many people have it so much worse. So, um, I hope none of you do. So, tomorrow we will continue our journey in Cold Steel 2, and hope you're looking forward to that. So, have yourselves a nice dinner and a well-deserved dessert, and make sure you brush your teeth and floss. That's important, and hope to see you tomorrow for the Sunday stream. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.